We are back at the Care Innovation Studio at the Care Innovation Summit here in London. We have a new guest with us, Nadra. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Bit of a challenge getting here, but I'm good.
Tube must have been nice and cool, yeah?
I didn't come by tube.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
It was the old road network.
Yeah. Do you want to just tell the audience a bit about who you are and what you do?
So I'm Nadra. I'm the Executive Co-Chairman of National Care Association, and we support the small to medium-sized providers predominantly, although we do have some large providers in our network. And really, we have this role to kind of support as much as we can the challenges that are happening, but also looking at the opportunities. And we are also known now for the backing of the Providers Unite movement.
Yeah, I'm in the WhatsApp group. Very busy WhatsApp group.
It's really
isn't it?
busy, isn't it? Yeah. But it's great because people feel that they can share and talk about, and on there you get a lot of innovation. You get a lot of people talking about we do it this way, we do it that way. That's what it's there for. Really.
I mean, let's talk about that a little bit, because I think the more people that know about that, the better. So from how I understand it, it's a group that's kind of trying to unite everybody into one voice to say, right, when we go to the government and say, this is what we need, it's one voice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is that one voice thing, that we are stronger together. That's the purpose of it. I mean, it started just as a freak because it was a letter I wrote to the Chancellor at the time that the NIC was announced. And from there, we kind of realised it was leaked by one of my board to somebody they knew who said, well, I think I'd like to sign that. And it just kind of cascaded. By the time the letter went out, 24 hours later or 48 hours later, there were about 125 organisations, which included local associations, it included the national bodies, all kind of saying, this is, so it was the one voice. But I think what then happened is it just took off because providers started to say they wanted to, and very quickly we were about 2,000 people. And now we're just under 5,000 people. And we set up the WhatsApp group expressly to make sure that people had their voices heard, and then we can pick out from that. I mean, it's open to anybody who signs the letter, that we can pick out bits and use them in the conversations we have. So it's quite a useful kind of tool for us. For example, when we had all those issues about, the reason for discharges, and they kept saying that social care providers didn't have capacity. It was a really quick WhatsApp message that I put on there and said this is what they're saying, and within minutes we had everybody saying I've got this much and then the area. So we were able to use that quite quickly and send it back to the Department of Health, and they said, well, why aren't we finding out about it? Well, are you asking, and who are you asking?
Well, I think it's they don't have the process in place, do they, to actually connect the two together in the way they need to. Well,
the thing is, they have the capacity tracker, which is, you have to fill in on a regular basis for commission purposes. So one wonders what happens to that information. So, data's really useful if you're going to use it in a kind of a positive way to negate any challenge. So here we have something that's been set up, and I know it was set up through COVID, but it's still there, and it can tell you how many beds somebody's got. But the rest of the information, to a degree, is a bit irrelevant.
Yeah, it's interesting that when you're leaving hospital, and often there's quite a long delay, isn't there, to either establish what your routine at home is going to be, to check that that's okay, and they've got a lot of places now seem to have these little kind of like sub-ward things that are kind of out of the hospital. Like my local hospital has a hotel next door, and they move people to the hotel.
Step-down service.
It's a sort of step-down service, but then I guess a lot of the time care homes are available. They have the right care that's required to monitor people, check, do blood checks and stuff.
And it costs less, same level of service, and very often much better because it's a homely environment. People can kind of feel that they're getting back into the stream. I think we kind of we don't have that joined up system here. So if you put the person at the heart of everything you do, when they no longer need to be in a hospital setting, the system should be very smooth about getting them back into the reality of life. So let's be absolutely clear, the hospital is there to support people to get over an acute incident. And that's true of whatever age you are. As soon as that's finished and you're discharged, we should be able to then be looking at how we rehabilitate them into living the normal life. And that's what social care does. We then support people to live the best life that they can. So our role is that longer role, if you like, and to prevent them from going back in and that revolving door.
So why do we think that there's such a sort of clog in the system? Is it more complicated than we give it credit for?
Well, I think because the systems outside of social care are broken. I don't think social care is broken. I get very irritated when I keep hearing the term about social care needs to be fixed. Social care needs to be funded.
Yeah.
It's not about the fixing of it. Providers continue to invest very heavily in their business. And when you look at where we are, from the times when I was running a home where we had a notebook on our desk that told, Mrs. Smith has had a good afternoon and she had her tea, to having that kind of that tech now available where you can actually fit everything in, you can measure what's happening, and we've got really good records. We've moved so far, but it's providers who've invested in that. Governments, successive governments, have never invested in the social care sector. So actually we are working to the best capacity that we can, but everything around us is broken. Why have we got 500,000 people still waiting for care and support because they haven't had their assessment? Why do we have just under 6 million people who are unpaid carers who would really want to be back in the economy doing the job but they've had to give up their work? Why is that all happening? Why is the NHS A&E departments, full to the brim? Why do the GPs not see people quicker so they don't have to? So all of those questions, they're the ones that need answering. And I think we've got to start focusing on the fact that social care is a very positive sector. We do what we do and we do it well. And, being here is an example of that. You've got sort of innovation happening, people are talking about it, supporting each other. We've got to really just stand up and say, actually, we're pretty good in what we're doing.
We just need a
just
little bit more.
Everything else,
sort everything else out, a little bit more help,
and invest
bit more money,
in us because we are the better option for the individual. We are more cost effective, so it doesn't feel like rocket science.
I think it does seem that I've vaguely been researching the sort of outskirts of this, but there's the Better Health Fund that's just come up.
Better Care Fund.
Yeah,
it's been around a while. It's been around a while, and it's the thing is, all these kind of pots of money that get announced, routing them through to the front line seems to be a major issue.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? And it's complicated, and providers are very busy, and actually, we need, they need help with it all, and if you've got a 26-page document you've got to fill out, even if it is for £50,000 worth of funding, that's still an awful lot of work to do with no guarantee that you might actually receive that money at the end of it.
Well, I think the important thing is that when you look at the small to medium-sized providers that we support, they don't have departments who can fill in contracts and do all that. They haven't got HR departments. They've got very small, when I was running a service, I didn't even have a PA or a secretary or whatever. Now you couldn't operate without that. And people were telling me yesterday, I was in Bristol yesterday with care providers, and they were saying a very small home. A lady was talking to me and she said, I've got to have somebody who's responsible for the tech to make sure the IT is working. I've got to have somebody who's checking the nursing elements and all of that. And they're having to kind of have that, somebody to deal with the commissioning, all of that kind of stuff, because one person can't do all of it.
Yeah. It's tricky. So are there any innovations that are sort of really standing out to you at the moment that you're really interested to talk about?
Well, I think, I'm not a very techie person, I must admit, but I think tech really is quite inspiring. I'm terrified of AI. haven't got to terms with that. But I do think that there are some really good things that are supporting our sector to free up time to enable them to live, better, to enable people to live better lives. I think some of the tech, I was involved with the building of a nursing home a few years ago in my role as a trustee, and I was actually brought on board to do that, and the medical college, the new medical college that was opened in Kent. And both of those have actually, they've astounded me. The one that was the care home, the nursing home, I was blown away. I think my board thought I was a bit mad, but I was blown away when we were looking at the designs of how we were doing things as compared to when I was running care services. And I got very, very excited about the fact that I wanted the hoists to be put into the ceiling so that they made life easier, more comfortable. So it's the practical bits about, moving somebody around their room if they're not mobile. And I kind of insisted that needed to be into that framework. So, little things like that. Yeah. I think innovation in food tech, enabling people to eat something that isn't just like a soupy mix of stuff. I think those are fantastic things. And I'm, again, blown away by the tastes and all of those sorts of things. With the hospital, just seeing doctors being trained now, and some of the tech that's available for them to be able to look into the conditions. I was really disappointed to hear that the Alzheimer's drug has been withdrawn, because that's all part of progression, that's enabling people to live lives that they deserve. So I do get excited about it, but I'm not kind of a geeky person on that.
I think the idea that innovation has to be technology, I think, is incorrect. Like you said, like food, just actually having a chef think about dysphasic food and what that looks like and how to make that as well as taste nice, look appealing, and so someone who's got dysphasia can actually enjoy a meal and not feel like they're eating a bowl of slop, that it is a kind of, it's given to them in a way which, carrots are pureed and they're made into a carrot shape, and it's simple stuff, but ultimately, that's food's a massive part of dementia care, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think I went down to the offices for Appetito, who work with us, to see how they do that, and there's so much time being invested in being innovative about the way we serve food, making dining rooms look, much more homely. Whereas I remember them being slightly different. You'd put a nice tablecloth on them and everything, but now the dining experience has come in. And I think those are the things that matter. So if you keep drawing it back and sucking it back into the individuals that receive that care and the impact it makes on them, then I think every day is a bit innovative.
Yeah. Just 0.1% innovation is still a 0.1% innovation, rather than waiting for the 50% innovation. Yeah. Even just things like food moulds that you can now get for dysphasic foods that are in the shape of carrots, so that it can be prepared and then warmed up again, and so it's like, it can be served to people who need that. So
absolutely.
It's really interesting. Well, talking about food, I've got a final question for you. Scones, jam cream or cream jam?
Jam and cream.
Okay, all right. It's the incorrect answer, but it's fine. However you like it. Our last guest said raisins and walnuts, and he just eats it like a sandwich with butter in it. So I don't. It's a bit mad as far as I'm concerned.
I have to admit, I also want to have some butter.
Yeah, some butter as well.
Butter, jam,
butter, jam, and
then cream.
Lovely. Okay. Well, very indulgent. Well, thanks for joining us today.
It's
been nice to see you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be back shortly.